If you have a pension and you can take the lump sum of $1 million, or you can take the annuity option of $5,000 every single month for the rest of your life, which would you choose? That's what I'm going to show you today. This is a real case study of a client of mine who had to make this decision. And I'm going to show you just how I walk through that so you can compare it to your situation. My name is Taublieb. I'm the host of the Early Retirement Podcast and Vice President here at Root. Let's hop right in. So this is a real case study for a client of mine, and they're debating, once again, $5,000 a month or $60,000 a year versus $1 million. What is going to put more dollars in their pocket at the end of the day? And so here's how we think through it. We're going to go down the list here so you can see how the framework will work. What you can see here is that $1 million versus $60,000 every single year. Now, there's no cost of living adjustment, no COLA here. So what this is saying is, what is your return after 1 year if you had taken the monthly annuity option? So this isn't getting into whether it's a joint and survivor option or a single life. For this client, this was the joint and survivor option, okay? So what you're seeing here is if this client passed away, assuming both passed away, what's happening is $60,000 would have been received for 1 year, and their return was a negative 94%. That's a pretty bad return, assuming that if they passed away, $1 million could have gone to their heirs instead. But what happens is this return increases over time because you live longer. So what happens is after 17 years, it's a positive return. I mean, if you live for 17 years, your return would have been positive. I know it's a weird way of thinking about it like this, but this is the analysis I will use. And so what we have to ask ourselves is, what about after 35 years? So this is level one. This is the first way I'll look at this. They'll say, well, if you took 60,000 every single year for 35 years, the return that you'd have to beat is 4.86%. So we have to ask ourselves, do we want a guaranteed 4.86%? And by the way, this is not counting inflation. So I know a lot of you are going, wait a second, Ari, 4.86%. But if inflation is 3%, what's my real return? And so really you have to go, okay, is it really 1.86%? Is it really 2%? Is it really 1%? This does not count inflation. So that's a big factor into this, with, safe to say. The point here is, if we thought that we could do better than 4.86%, we're going to at least consider looking at the lump sum option. Here's a better way of looking at it. I will compare it just on a cumulative basis next. So this is level two. I'll say, what if we collected 60,000 every single year for 10 years? Well, that's $600,000. What if we collected it for 35 years? That's $2.1 million. That's the total we would have collected. Versus this other option of, what if we took the lump sum amount of $1 million? How much income could that create? If you're just reasonably looking at good portfolio construction, it could create $55,000. So people look at this and go, wait a second, $55,000, that's less than 60. Why on earth would I even consider this lump sum option? Well, the difference is it's not only growing with inflation, you can choose how it gets invested. And if God forbid anything happens, the dollars can be left to your heirs. So what you can see is, if we look at the cumulative withdrawal, which is the overall total dollars over time, is if we look over 35 years, you would have accumulated $3.3 million versus $2.1 million. So you can see that's a significant $1.2 million difference. But even greater than that, this column here, and I'll zoom out just for a moment. I want to make sure that you guys can see this, because I know the numbers get small. But essentially, if we're looking at this number 11, this column here, 11, you would have accumulated after, 10 years, you'd have accumulated $630,000, meaning that's the amount of income you could have created. And if God forbid you passed at this time, $630,000 would go to your heirs. So it would continue on. Versus if you pass away after 10 years here, you collected $600,000 and then you got nothing. It went away forever. So this is a really quick way of doing a pension analysis for some of my clients. I'll show them, do you take the annuity option? Do you take the lump sum option? This is the first thing I'll look at. Here's what else I need you to think about. That's the financial answer. How do you think through pensions, monthly amount, that annuity option versus the lump sum? But I don't work with robots, I work with people. And so we have to ask, how long are we expected to live? That's one of the first questions I'll ask clients. If we're expected to only live 5, 10, 15 years, you might want to take that monthly annuity option. The other thing to think through is peace of mind. I have clients that are just going to sleep better knowing that they have guaranteed income. Now, if it doesn't have a cost of living adjustment, they won't sleep as well. But the reality is, I have clients that just say, Ari, I'm going to sleep better. And my dopey joke I'll tell people is, no one's ever come to me going, Ari, I'm so glad my investments went up by $100,000, but I am glad that I paid down that mortgage because I'm just sleeping better. And that's the reality. So we always have to go, okay, let's look at the financial answer and then the real life answer. I do not work with robots. So when you're thinking through lump sum versus monthly annuity option, what makes most sense for you, you have to do it in the context of your whole plan. And what does that mean for legacy planning? If you don't have children or specific heirs you want to leave dollars to, you might like that monthly annuity option. You might go, you know what? I've invested long enough. I think I could beat that 4.5%. These are ways to think through planning so that you can have a total, not just confidence, but clarity. So I want my clients to have complete confidence that when they retire, they are retiring and they're not leaving 3, 4, 500 or $1 million on the table because they just didn't run the simple analysis. So people too often, in my opinion, get so lost in the numbers of the optimization of investing this way. And there's nothing wrong with that. I love investing. But the overall message here is we have to do it in light of what you want to do. I don't want you to simply take a pension annuity option just because it's going to make you sleep a little better if you didn't at least consider the other alternatives. And you might still elect the monthly pension option for the annuity, but it's only after you understand, hey, what am I potentially leaving on the table? Sometimes it's not a big difference. Sometimes I'll tell people, hey, I'd rather you pay down the mortgage. You're going to sleep better. I know it. It's one less expense in retirement. It doesn't make or break your plan because of your interest rate. Other times it's, hey, I need you to at least consider not paying down your mortgage with extra principal, because if you invest otherwise, you can add $300,000-$400,000. And they say, all right, I just didn't know that. I was just more comfortable with paying down the mortgage because that's what I knew. So these are things to think through to create a holistic plan. If this was helpful and made you think differently, even 1%, please do like this video as it helps more people retire early because it grows the channel. And my goal is to help as many people as possible retire early. So if this is something that you'd like more guidance on, you can reach out to us in the description of this video. Thanks, guys.